Welcome to The Explainer. So, if you've ever felt that absolute thrill of stepping onto a dance floor, or honestly, even if you're just captivated by the pure elegance of competitive ballroom dancing, you've probably run into a pretty fascinating dilemma. When it comes time to actually compete, which path do you take? I mean, before you even worry about trying not to step on your partner's toes, you actually have to decide who that partner is going to be. Today, we're unpacking some brilliant insights from ballroom expert Vladislav Knight to explore the two most common competition formats out there, amateur and pro-am. Choosing the right format is absolutely crucial because it dictates your rehearsal time, shapes your expectations, and literally changes who you're standing next to on the floor. I'm so incredibly excited to guide you through this, so get comfortable and let's get ready to learn.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our quick roadmap for demystifying these two paths. We'll start with the two formats of ballroom, then define amateur and pro-am, look at how judges actually score you, navigate those tricky entry rules, and finally, figure out how to choose your competition path. All right, Section 1, two formats of ballroom. While all ballroom fundamentally showcases performance and artistry, the underlying participant models are, well, completely different. At its core, the competitive ballroom world splits into these two distinct models: dancing with a peer versus dancing within a professional partnership. Understanding this foundational split is so important. It's really the very first step in picking the right event for you. It tells you exactly how you need to plan your rehearsal time, and most importantly, it properly sets your expectations for what you're about to experience out there under those bright lights. Moving right along to Section 2, defining amateur and pro-am. So in most ballroom circuits, the term amateur has a very specific definition. It means you're a dancer competing as a peer without a professional partner. You and your partner are both drawn from the exact same general competitive pool. The key takeaway here is that neither of you is registered or recognized by the organizers as a professional dancer. You're peers, working together to showcase your shared skills on the floor. On the flip side, we have pro-am. This model pairs an amateur dancer directly with a professional ballroom partner, or sometimes her professional coach, depending on the specific event's rules. In this setup, the professional provides that essential partnership experience and performance leadership. They're basically the anchor. The amateur, meanwhile, brings their own competitive routine to the table. It's a truly brilliant model that creates a unique, highly supportive learning environment that's practically designed for rapid improvement. Which brings us to Section 3. How judges score you. Because these participant models are so vastly different, they totally change what the judges are actually looking for when they're standing there with their clipboards. So what exactly are they hunting for in amateur events? Well, when you're out there competing against your peers without a pro guiding you in real time, the scrutiny shifts in a very specific direction. In the amateur divisions, judges are hunting for solid fundamental mastery. Mentally, they're ticking off boxes: consistency, technique, timing, frame, footwork accuracy, overall presentation. But here is the crucial context you need to remember. They are judging these elements relative to your specific division's expected standards. Because both dancers are peers, the success of the entire performance relies completely on how well both individuals demonstrate mastery of these core fundamentals together. Now let's look at how this dynamic shifts when we introduce a professional to the floor. How does pro-am scoring shift the judge's focus? It's a super fascinating dynamic because suddenly one half of the partnership is a seasoned expert. Because the professional partner's expertise naturally raises the overall baseline of the performance, the judges aren't just looking at the overall polish. Instead, they heavily scrutinize the amateur's specific contributions. Scoring commonly reflects the chemistry and synchronization between the partners. Judges are asking themselves, how well does the amateur execute their required elements under the intense pressure of competition? They are meticulously checking the amateur's alignment, control, musicality, and partner technique while dancing right next to a master. And this brilliantly illustrates the core difference side by side. To put it simply, in amateur events, the weight is on how well both dancers demonstrate mastery relative to their peers. But in pro-am, the weight shifts almost entirely to the amateur's ability to execute their elements beautifully and accurately while matching the high baseline set by their professional partner. Okay, let's talk red tape in Section 4, navigating the entry rules. Beyond the actual dancing itself, eligibility is the biggest practical hurdle you'll face when choosing between these two events. And let's be honest, sometimes the only thing more complicated than the footwork on the floor is the ballroom bureaucracy. Amateur competitions often restrict who can enter based on strict definitions of professional status, any prior titles you might have won, or even your training history. Pro-Am roles, conversely, usually require the amateur to meet very specific classification rules and demand that you're paired with a qualified professional partner, either through the event's own system or an approved arrangement. I want to share this direct advice from Vladislav Knight's insights, and you should definitely keep this in mind. Checking the official entry guidelines is essential, especially for age categories, skill levels, and whether coaching during certain time windows is permitted. Rules can change drastically between different organizations and federations, so you absolutely, positively must do your homework. Finally, we've made it to Section 5, choosing your competition path. So, the crucial point is making an informed decision that matches what you want to achieve. Map it to your primary goal. If you want to measure yourself directly against your peers and build results on a clearly defined competitive ladder, then the amateur format is a wonderfully strong fit for you. But if your goal is to develop your skills faster with expert support, then Pro-Am is highly recommended. The key benefits there are gaining invaluable stage experience and refining your technique in real time while dancing with a pro. Now, here's a really interesting strategy, the concept of a bridge. Many incredibly successful dancers strategically treat Pro-Am precisely as this, a bridge. It's an amazing way to build up your confidence, get comfortable performing in front of those intimidating judges, and hone your skills, all while you're working toward your longer-term competitive goals. Goals which, might eventually include high-level amateur competitions. Ultimately, regardless of the path you choose, there are universal keys to success, and they all build to this exact point. First, choose the right division that accurately reflects your skill level. Second, you absolutely must respect the event's rules and eligibility criteria. And critically, you need to rehearse in a way that matches the specific competition's expectations. If you're going amateur, rehearse to establish ironclad fundamentals. If you're going pro-am, rehearse to develop a highly cohesive, synchronized partnership with your professional. The ballroom floor is waiting for you. The only thing left to decide is your path. So, will you test your fundamentals against your peers on the amateur circuit? Or will you choose to accelerate your growth and step into the spotlight with a professional in Pro-Am? The choice is entirely yours. And whichever you choose, I hope this explainer has empowered you with the knowledge to dance your absolute best. Thank you so much for learning with me today.